And yes, we are the Coalition, loud and proud. We're here up at the State House, a full and rewarding afternoon where the House Judiciary Committee mailed it in, ignored serious concerns with the legislation, and have voted to send to the full House, where it is anticipated some relatively groundbreaking Second Amendment prohibitions will be placed. The absence of any real, I guess what's the word, I'm sorry, for sense of history, the absence of any real perspective has been lost based in the rush politically, at least from the editorial perspective of the Coalition Radio Network, the rush to appear like you're doing something. And in open debate, some real concerns about the magazine laws were just pushed aside in the interest of doing something. But we've actually, as we always joke, I'm not an expert, I simply play one on the radio. The real experts in front of us, Chaz Calenda, of course you recognize him from Chaz Calenda, attorney at law, broadcasting Wednesday nights on the Coalition, facebook.com/the Coalition Radio. At about 8:30 Wednesday nights, he's here in person. He's drinking in the atmosphere of what we lovingly refer to as halitosis hall. Chaz, what are your thoughts about the legislation passing today?
Well, I actually think that it's going to cause a lot of legal problems, Pat. If the state had just waited about approximately 20 days, we'd know the full scope of the right to bear arms outside your home, because the U.S. Supreme Court is about to rule on that very issue. And depending on the scope of that ruling, the state may just set themselves up for dozens and dozens of lawsuits to enjoin the eventual laws that these will become.
Isn't that usually how it works here? Isn't this state a constant repository of poorly thought out, poorly executed, ready, shoot, aim legislation?
Well, this was certainly poorly thought out. One of the bills, which raises the age to buy a long gun to 21, has already been held unconstitutional in another circuit across in this country out west. So, I mean, there's at least one Circuit Court of Appeals who already thinks that's unconstitutional. I happen to think all of them are unconstitutional in the sense that they burden the fundamental right, the core of the fundamental right to possess a firearm for self-defense, which is already the law in this country under Heller versus District of Columbia. So at this point, you've got energized people who are fighting back with their First Amendment rights to protect their Second Amendment rights, and it's on full display here in the State House.
There's a very real chance that you're the next Attorney General. You're inheriting a mess. What do you do with laws like this if you're the Attorney General and you walk in and knowingly counter bad laws, unconstitutional laws that won't hold up in court? What are you left to do?
Well, my first job as the Attorney General is to make sure that the Constitution, not only of Rhode Island, but of the United States, is upheld. Then the laws of Rhode Island. That's how it works. I have to satisfy myself that the law is going to be consistent with our constitutional rights. I cannot believe for the life of me, that we have the Attorney General advocating and then celebrating advocating the erosion of a constitutional right, any constitutional right. In this case, it's the Second Amendment. But what Attorney General in their right mind would celebrate the erosion of a constitutional right? Well, apparently Peter Nerona here in Rhode Island thinks it's a great thing that we're eroding the Second Amendment to our U.S. Constitution.
Wow. Elections matter, don't they?
They certainly do, particularly the Attorney General.
We've had successive disasters as Attorney General, and they have left this state, as far as just fundamental rights, in the rubble. Are you optimistic that this may finally turn the corner?
People are waking up. People are finally seeing what can be done to them from all corners of the government, including the Attorney General. A race that normally flies under the radar, so to speak. Not any longer. I'm bringing attention to exactly what the Attorney General is doing to this state. The House basically were his lapdogs. He brought these bills to them and said, we need to pass these, acting himself as a super legislator almost. And they did. They passed them. And now he's already warning people who don't comply within that 180-day period that turn in those magazines, that if you don't comply, you will face felony prosecution. I got a real problem with that.
How is it possible, and I guess it is, in the year 2022, we would subject law-abiding citizens who purchase a legal product to becoming felons at the hands of the state?
It's possible because the loud and vocal minority of people who are afraid of guns, who don't like guns, who don't agree with the Second Amendment, have overtaken the will of the State House. They've overtaken the office of the Attorney General, and those are the people who are pushing the policies. I don't care what your thoughts are on the Second Amendment. If you don't like it, there's a way to repeal it. There's a way to amend the Constitution. I invite you to try. If that's what you feel, submit the bill, have 3/5 of the states ratify it, and there you go. And the same thing goes with the state constitution. You don't like it, you submit the bill, you submit it to the people, they can repeal the amendment. Until then, that is the highest law of the land.
Do personal opinions matter when it comes to constitutional rights?
No, they don't matter at this point. The Constitution is the highest law of our land. So whether or not I like whatever bill, or whatever amendment or right that is provided to us in the Constitution, if I'm the Attorney General, it's my duty to make sure that those rights are protected, no matter what my personal opinion is. And apparently, Peter Nerona and I have very different visions for what the role of the Office of the Attorney General is when it comes to protecting your constitutional rights. I think you protect all the rights in the Constitution. Peter Nerona thinks you only protect the ones that he agrees with.
Chaz, where can folks find out more about your campaign, when you're on the air, how they can reach out to you, just as importantly, how they can support you?
Well, to support me and find out more about me, go to my website, Chas, C-H-A-S, 4AG.com. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can learn more about me on that website. You can also find me on your network, Pat, the Coalition Radio Network, Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. at Chas Calenda Attorney at Law, where I do my podcast. And of course, you can always find me at my law firm, Inman and Torgy, which is at 1500 Nooseneck Hill Road in Coventry, 401-823-9200, if you're in need of legal assistance.
Chaz, thanks for joining us tonight. You're hanging in there for the long run, and you're going to be around all weekend to comment and to provide some, it appears, much needed, I'll call it real-world legal advice. So folks, stay tuned. Chaz will be weighing in both on camera and in the written form so that you can get a different perspective of what appears to be today the flyby media with their 3-minute sound bites. We are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage, porn-free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live on the worldwide Coalition Radio Network at coalitionradionetwork.com, facebook.com/the Coalition Radio, on the mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio. We'll be back. We've been here all day. There's more to come, including a potential press conference this evening from Speaker Shekarchi on the budget. Doesn't get any better than this, folks. We'll be back.